life is very challenging and full of twists and turns and surprises that we couldn't possibly plan for. And your life will be no different to mine and to everyone else's, perhaps, that you know, in that it's not something that you can control. You can attempt to make the right decisions and move in the right direction, but ultimately it appears as though the universe has plans for us rather than we make plans for the universe. And this is the position that you could fall back into when you realise that although it's right and proper and very pragmatic to plan and make decisions for your future, that something else is going on, something that isn't in our control. And in fact, the idea that we are in control and creating our life as it unfolds is incorrect. The idea that we have freedom of choice, free will, and can move in directions and make decisions is illusionary. It's an appearance. It seems very real when you're within that appearance and you identify as that appearance, but it's not what is actually happening. Self-realization is the innate knowing at a level that isn't comprehensible that you are actually the one energy, the one movement, and we can call it universe or pure conscious awareness or effortless being, that never changes and that is always present and isn't trapped within a time framework. We as individual selves live in linear time, and we are restricted and limited by that concept. And pragmatically, of course, we need to look at our diaries and our calendars and our clocks to interact with other individuals in the world and keep order out of that chaos. But something else is going on at a deeper level that actually transcends that limited idea of linear time. And this is the message here in these videos and in my books, a message that points to one's innate being, which is that awareness that doesn't change and isn't subject to time. But of course, we are constantly drawn back in, it seems, to the appearance of our individual selves, the I, the embodied idea that we are here and inside this structure, this psychophysical entity, this mind-body unit, that we are the thing in the mirror and that we are looking out from these eyes. But if you investigate what it is that is looking out from these eyes, then it doesn't seem to equate to the idea that we have of ourselves and that other people have of us. That is a psychological construct that has been conditioned over time to believe in separation. And when we start to question that, we might then get a glimpse of the truth. And that doesn't mean to say that we don't still act in the world and that we aren't individual people that respond to our own name and have relationships with those around us and care and and suffer in those terms within psychological way of being. So the suffering and the pain seem to continue, but they don't have the same impact because there is something fundamentally that recognizes that and that is aware of that, but not that. The thing that recognizes the joy and the hurt and the heartache and the disappointment and the guilt and the regret and the peace and the bliss doesn't change, and recognizes that and is aware of whatever arises, knowing that those contents that arise aren't the true self. So this is the self aware of itself, which cannot be known or understood, but it is a position that you can't get behind. There's a German word that I've forgotten that is unget-behindable, and that is what we are in our essential nature, this effortless awareness that is the background to our lives, that is always there, and that with some intention and focus we can point towards and get a sense of. It's actually so close to us we can't see it. It's what we are, not who we are. And then who we are plays out in the world of form, and it has to, because we have to act. We act and we respond, but we don't react in the same way because we're not tied to and shackled to the idea that I am an individual and have to do things to effect change and have to behave in certain ways and think certain ways and do certain things to be thought good of, to measure ourselves against our own ideals and also other people's. When that falls away, through recognizing our true nature as this infinite awareness, infinite being, then there is a freedom there that plays out in the world of form in a much simpler way, not at the mercy of judgment and not at the mercy of right and wrong. And of course we still move forwards in the world, and for the egoic self this message might seem a little bit dangerous. Well, what would happen if there was no differentiation between what I should and shouldn't be thinking and doing? Would I be in chaos and fall off the rails, so to speak? Would people recognize me? And of course that's not what happens at all. We carry on. Before enlightenment, carry water, chop wood. After enlightenment, carry water, chop wood. From the external perspective, everything is exactly the same. The internal recognition of one's divine nature, the infinite being, infuses all those actions with a pure joy and playfulness that cannot be described or known.